Well, this week we had Women's Day. I don't know, how did you ladies celebrate your Women's Day? What did you do?
I cooked for my family, and then I worked at the shop.
Ah.
Oh. Well, I attended an event for women in tech. So very exciting Women's Day celebration for me. Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. Oh, it's been a whole Women's Month for me. I like to say Women's Month, the month of March. And I'd like us to join you and also the audience to celebrate the women who have inspired us, the women who give us a reason to continue this fight. So I'd like to hear from you, a woman who is not your mother, who is not your aunt, who is not your grandmother or your sister or your friend, but a woman that you see and you think, you've watched her life, you've watched how she's walked this journey, and you think, she gives me a reason to keep walking.
How did you spend your Women's Day?
No, that's not fair. You can't turn that to me. I spent my Women's Day. I had two events, actually. I had one event where we're just watching movies and talking about things that affect women with Chapter 4, Uganda. And then the next event was a Women's Day celebration that our boss threw for all the ladies at NTV and Spark TV. Yes, so tell me about a lady that, I bet mine beat all of yours. Tell me about a lady that inspires you.
Can you go fast?
No, I'd like for you to go fast.
You have to think about it. Since the two of you have to think about it, I'd like to ask the audience, if you could just tell me a lady that speaks to you, a woman that you've watched over time. Does anyone have someone off head? It can't be that hard, really, to find a mentor. Yes. Maggie Chigozie. Another person? Babi Chagulani. Okay. The Nabagereka of Uganda. Your mother. But we disqualified mother. Yeah. But we'll take that. Okay, have you ladies come up with somebody?
Mine is not African.
That's
Cheryl
right.
Sandberg.
Okay. Lean in.
Yes.
Okay.
She's the one that I've really watched and has inspired me to, she keeps inspiring me and challenging my everyday life and everyday moves. I want to be like her when I grow up.
How much time should we give you for that?
For the growing up?
I'm growing up.
Okay.
It's a process.
Okay, and who has inspired you?
I guess for me it would have to be Winnie Byanyima.
Winnie Byanyima. Why?
Not for the fact that she's a politician. I guess I admire her as a woman. I admire her journey, where she came from, from the bush, you know, to the political scene and then international scene. For me, where I see myself, I guess I would like to one day be a head of Oxfam, for example, or an organization like she's heading that's impacting people all around the world. So for her journey, that's why I admire her. Yes.
Okay, wow. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. That was our This and That segment. Let's now get into our Say It As It Is, where we say things as they are concerning the issues that affect us. Well, last week we started the discussion on money, and this week that very discussion continues. We asked you on our social media pages to share with us what has been your biggest challenge as you looked to growing your money. Where did you find a problem? And that's going to be the gist of our discussion with the ladies. So I want to start with this. Maxima, I'll start with you. When you spoke last week and said how you used to earn 30 million shillings, there was a lot of doubt, by the way. I'm sure you expected. People still don't understand how you earn 30 million shillings and then you quit your job. They're thinking, no. Someone actually said 30 million shillings to go and do lipstick. I don't understand it. So maybe you can share a bit with us what you started with when you were starting that journey, your business journey.
I started with my savings. I had about $50,000 in savings because I had really raised it over a period of time. So I was lucky to have gotten that. But then the challenge is in not having the money. It's in knowing what to use the money for and how to use it effectively. Because you may have all this money, but trust me, you can spend it in a week, all of it, or even in a day if you're lucky enough to know how to spend it. So the challenge was in getting a group of people, a team, and raw materials cheaply, packaging materials cheaply, knowing the value chain, the supply chain, and getting it intact in order for me to save money and also make money from the little that I that I have. So for me, my challenge is in knowing how to spend money effectively and at the lowest cost possible with the right team to help me do that.
Okay, so when I spoke to you, actually spoke to somebody before I called you, Lorraine, and she told me Lorraine is a goater, and I thought, what is a goater? So I'm told you're a goater, but I don't understand what a goater is. Do you keep goats? Do you? What is that?
Well, that's what it is. We are a group of goat farmers, and I guess because the group is called well, the Goat Network, and then there's real goaters. I don't know if they're fake goaters, but I guess the real goaters are people who are serious about goat farming. So yes, I'm a farmer, but besides from keeping goats, I also do passion fruits, and I also have pawpaws. I grow cocoa, so I grow different things. But would you like me to talk about the goating?
I like that you're a woman doing this side of business, because a lot of people think business would be what you're currently doing, Maxima is currently doing. So most people are afraid to jump into the sector of farming. How safe is that? We have to wait for the rain, and then the rain doesn't come, and then the rain comes, and it's the kind of rain that just keeps you awake all night because of the thunder, or it seems like we're going to drown. So what is your biggest challenge when you're doing that?
Well, I guess you've mentioned the most challenges that farmers meet, but I think maybe the worst of things that you can do for yourself is to be calculative. I know it's important for us to have our business plans and have all our ducks in place, but honestly, I just went right in. I took a gamble. I didn't ask, how much money was I going to make from one goat, or how many goats do I need to keep on an acre, although these were questions that were answered for me by existing farmers. But I think maybe the biggest challenge is obviously investment, just in line with this week's topic of money, because I used my savings to start.
What did you start with? Do you mind sharing that?
Well, I started with 15 goats, and each goat cost me 120,000. So if you're good at maths, you can work that out. So I guess not that much money, but to the average person, it could be affordable. Yeah, it could be affordable, I guess.
Is it something you saved over time? What were you doing before you got into this?
I was studying.
So straight from school, you went into, because I'm looking at a young woman who is maybe just finishing campus, and she's thinking, what do I do? Where do I get the money to start? And or maybe you're working at a job and you're thinking, do I have enough to buy a goat? You got for 120,000 shillings then. Is that the same price of a goat now?
Yes, you can get more as well. There's savannas that cost 2.5 per goat.
A goat? How big is that goat?
It's the breed. So if it's a pure breed, it's 2.5. It's 50%. Yeah, the price will vary depending on the breed you're guessing.
So you started with 15 goats, and how did you now then go into the pineapples and the passion fruits?
So I should mention that I come from a background of family farmers. We have the land. So maybe my advantage as well was that I did not have to buy land. My family has land, but then again, I could have sold it and bought a border, or i.e. family land, but didn't. Decided to capitalize on the existing asset, being land. And then you started. Did you get any support? Maxima, did you get any support from anybody when you were going to get into this?
Monetary support, or
whatever kind of support that you can look back on and say and calculate and say, that got me here?
Uganda Industrial Research Institute. It supported, and it's still supporting me, because with manufacturing, we have the biggest overheads are electricity, water, payment of technical staff. That's what sucks your money a lot. So with the Uganda Industrial Research Institute, it saved me from the cost of electricity, water, and then I get to have other technical personnel on that team that I don't necessarily pay out of my pocket. So that support has been invaluable, and still is invaluable.
How did you get them to support you?
I had to have a business plan, which I had to explain to the executive director and convince him to actually take me on as an incubator. So I encourage people to always have a plan. You jumped in, which was really good, but then you have a history of farming, right? But then people who don't have the history of doing specific businesses, it's good to have a plan. Go down, sit down, plan. Plan out your money, plan out your people, plan out your expenses. With the planning, you will be able to know when you will be able to get a profit back, or when.
Right there, how long did it take you to get a profit from your business?
About 3 months.
Wow.
But remember, mine is manufacturing, so it sucks the money out of you. There are some people who do, for example, goating. You can sell your goat.
What should we call it? Give us a word.
It's goat farming.
Okay, farming.
Yeah.
Goat farming.
Goating sounds so wrong.
Okay, forgive. Or cloth making. What's cloth making?
Tailoring.
Forgive me, I'm not in a mood of goating. Anyway, people who do tailoring, you buy a material, make the dress, sell it. You get an immediate profit. It depends on the business you're doing. But then from the business plan, which you have to do, you can calculate and know exactly when you'll be able to get a profit. Because if you don't get it now, you don't have to be so sad about it. Things take time. It's patience. So you just keep
Patience when
working.
you're not having food to eat at home. It's a little hard. It's a little hard.
Yeah.
Lorraine, how long did it take you to get a profit from any of those, either the pineapples or the goats? How long did it take?
Well, for farming, it's a continuous. So I don't think I could really say that I have a profit yet from my goats, because when you have goats, you buy a female, and then you need to give it time to actually have offsprings for you. So your goat could make profit for you over a period of time, and then it's up to you when if I have a problem, then I can just go sell a goat. So it's kind of like emergency cash. But as for profit, we have a goat farmers cooperative, and we're still trying to work out at what stage one starts to get profit from goat farming. But for all I could say is for now, it's emergency cash for you. Like you have something to solve, then you go sell a goat.
I have a quick question for you, and I would like a very, very quick answer without you thinking about it. What's the young of a goat?
A kid.
Oh, okay. I just needed to be sure. Okay.
I was about to say a goatling.
A goatling?
Okay. I was about to say about.
Okay.
Okay.
And you still did.
Did you receive any support with the farming? Have you reached out to any organizations? Have you reached out to friends? Did you have to go anywhere to maybe to learn this skill besides growing up in this family that was doing this before?
It was a friend. I have a friend in Uganda called Ben, and I think he really got me into goat farming and actually bought my first stock from him. So if anyone supported me through this, it was him. I asked all the questions: when do I vaccinate? How do I treat this disease? And he said, stop worrying too much. Goats are easy. Just go in.
So it's important to have somebody who's done this before, so that you can go to them for advice or just for support.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important because at the moment there's so much training going on. There's so many farmer trainings, and then people go in and sit in a classroom and they think they can learn farming from the book.
Class.
But I keep telling people, just go visit someone. If it's passion fruit farming, go visit someone that's actually doing it.
How much space do I need to do any of the things that you're doing?
For my goats, doing zero grazing and mixed grazing, I guess. I also grow fodder to feed them on the side. So I would say 5 acres.
5
just
acres
off
is
my
fine.
head, 5 acres is fine.
Wow.
But I know people that have 7 acres and they're keeping goats, chicken, pigs. I have mangoes. So it's up to you how you utilize what you have.
What space you have.
Yeah. Someone is keeping goats at home, domestic. So.
All right. Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, Max. Let's take a short break. But when we return, we're going to be talking about if you're keeping your current job, how can you grow money from that particular position without, jumping into business. For the people who are not very comfortable with taking risks and things of the sort. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. With us here on Perspective with Josephine Karunji, we're having a light moment with Max because all of us are looking at this $50,000 savings that started her off, and us asking Max how possible it is to have that amount of money, and she was telling us that you were saving how much every month?
Remember the law of the Jews?
Yes.
the JULO.
The 10% and the
Yeah, that
10% type.
Yeah, you save 30%. No, you save 10. You tithe 10%. You do all that stuff. Now, for me, I was endeavoring to save at least 20% because I was working tirelessly, and I didn't want to live in the situation that I was living in. I wanted to come and have a comfortable-ish life when I quit. So I would save my 20% religiously and use the other one to, you know, take people out, go out, have fun. I'm a young girl, enjoy life, but while saving.
Okay, Max has been making headlines throughout the week on Twitter about this $30 million job and a 30 million shillings job, and he said now you're going to make it for the $50,000. But let's open up the conversation. Let's get into that segment where we are joined by a financial consultant to give us a bit more advice. In our segment, Open Up the Conversation. You sip a lot of hard drink throughout this. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bernice. Bernice Mvano is a financial consultant. I call her a financial guru, but she doesn't like for me to use the word guru. Well, welcome, welcome, Bernice. Bernice, let's look at a scenario of a woman or a man who has a daytime job. For example, myself, I have a full-time job. Where would you advise me to start? How can I grow my money without necessarily getting out and jumping into business, especially maybe if I'm somebody who is not really called to be in that field?
Okay, there are a number of ways. Where do I start from?
The very simplest for the people who work.
The very simplest for the people who work. I guess these types of investments also apply to the people who are business people who don't work. Sorry, I just want to start with, there's a comment that were made last week.
Yeah.
Someone said they enjoyed the show, then as they were watching, they felt, but are those things for me? Those things you're saying, do they really apply to us? Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a businesswoman. Maybe I just get 200,000. Maybe I don't earn so much. And Bernice, those things sound like they're for people, corporate up there.
Yeah.
So my hope is that we'll be able to demystify, even as I answer your question, the answer that I'm going to give are not just for the working person. They can apply for anyone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We can start from, let's say, shares. Now, I guess I would have to define shares. It's hard how to. I don't want to just mention it for the sake of just, excuse me, mentioning.
Yeah, in the simplest way.
In the simplest way possible, and how someone can actually get the shares, I guess. A share is a unit of ownership in a company. So if you own a share in a company, then you're a part owner of that company to the degree of shares that you have.
Okay.
So when you have shares, you become a shareholder. So when you hear people having AGMs, all they are doing is bringing shareholders together in one room to discuss issues pertaining that company.
AGMs means annual general meeting, right?
Yes.
Oh, I feel very clever right now.
You are. You'll be shocked. Annual general meetings, yes. But maybe to demystify it further, how do you get a share?
Yes.
You know, does it apply to me the shopkeeper? Can I actually go and get shares? Mm-hmm. Now, the regulator, first of all, is the Capital Markets Authority. They regulate that area, like the way you have Bank of Uganda regulating the banks in that industry. This one is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority. Then they regulate people called brokers, who actually help you open what we call an SCD account. You cannot go to Umeme, for instance, and say, hey, can I please have 2 shares?
So when Umeme is advertising shares, where do I go to get those shares?
That is what I'm saying. You go to a broker. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention some in the field of advertising them, or should I
Where
just
do we find these brokers?
Where do you find these brokers? They're in town. Let me mention some, because, yes. For instance, you've heard of Crested Stocks, African Alliance, Dan Blair. You may have just seen them in town, but these are who we call brokers. They can help you open an SCD account. It is free to open. I can open, you can open, anyone can open. Even
I have a question. If I went to Capital Markets Authority, can they tell me the different brokers that are available?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, maybe that brings me to another point. We need to be proactive, like the way you are saying. Go to someone who has done it. If you don't have anyone, go to the Capital Markets Authority. We can attend all the trainings, be sponsored to go all the places, but friends, if we don't implement what we are learning, I think it really does, yes,
useless.
it's useless.
How much is the least I can spend buying a share?
Okay, again, to demystify this further, because people have this myth, I need a lot of money to buy shares.
Yeah.
Now, the minimum shares you can buy at any one time is 100. So you can buy 100 shares or more. Now, I'm sure you see Malcolm at the end, towards the end of Business News.
Yes.
He has a table. Maybe that's the point when some of us change the channel. I don't know, but
I hope
hopefully,
not.
hopefully, from next week onwards,
We'll understand.
we will understand, yes. What he's showing us is, he's showing us companies and the prices of the shares. And you see green and red arrows. The red arrow means it is down from where it was previously. A green, it has gone up from where it was before. The companies are abbreviated. You will see SBU, meaning Stanbic, DFCU, Kenya Airways. They are abbreviated. But all that table is showing you is how they have performed. In our stock exchange, we have about just 16 companies. There are not many. If you went to Kenya, you'd find so many companies. Now, when you buy your shares, just by seeing that, you can follow. Maybe I bought my shares at 100 per shilling. I watch Malcolm showing us, and
100
I see
shillings per share, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
For instance, there are companies you find is 12 shillings per share. Now, once you know the once you know the minimum shares you can buy, you get 100 times that to show you the amount that you can buy. I don't know whether it's making sense.
Yeah.
So what that means is any of us can. Yes, there are companies. At some point, BAT was 30,000 per share, meaning maybe, okay, that's a bit on the high side if I want to enter that one, but there are lower ones. So you just need to open the SCD account. You can go to any broker. They open it free for you. And then it's a discussion you have with the brokers. They advise you, you discuss, and then you can buy shares. So it's open for all of us.
So, Bernice, at what point do I, because I'm sure someone wants to know, do I start receiving from these shares? How do I even receive anything from them?
Okay, to begin with, the broker, there will be someone there you'll meet who will, they buy the shares on your behalf.
Okay.
And now with online access, you even have online access to see what is happening. Now, there are two ways you can make money from buying shares. There's what we call capital gains, appreciation in price. You bought at 50 shillings, you find it is now 60. So there's that difference you've made. Then there's dividend income. A company has done so well, they've made profits, they've decided to give out dividends, and they give out dividends per share. So, and that is a check they route out to you, and you receive your money. That is separate from what is happening with your shares. Now, when you buy shares, it's not like they tell you, you must come back after 1 year to get back the returns. It's entirely up to you, although it's recommended to be there about 3 years, medium to long term. It's not your typical deal, but if I want to put my money there, then I want in a year it should have grown by 50%. No. There are forces of demand and supply that determine the price and the way that it moves. So it's for you to monitor and see. So it depends, again, I'll go back to what we were saying last time. What is your objective? Every investment has an objective it meets. Like every vehicle has a destination it goes to. If you want a medium to long term, then think about shares. If you want something maybe for 3 months, then there's something else. Maybe save for 3 months. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. Like every investment has something, an objective that it meets.
Okay.
So that is with shares. So it's all of us, even you, Josephine. Tomorrow you can go open an SCD account and have a discussion with someone there, financial advisor, and buy shares. It's as easy as that. Yes.
That's something that cuts across to the people who are a working person, or I'm a stay-at-home mom, or I don't have a job, a stable income right now. But I'm curious about somebody who has an office. I sit in an office, and my company keeps telling me about NSSF. NSSF.
What?
Where do I gain from with NSSF?
Okay. First of all, NSSF is mandatory to begin with. I don't think we have a choice in the matter, Josephine. I think, because you say it as if you sit and they ask you, Josephine, do you want to put in NSSF or not? I think it's not a choice, though. Although the purpose for it is saving towards your retirement. I've had people advance the argument that they should give us our money. If I had it, I would have done so many things. But what we don't appreciate is you have that money because they have deducted over time, and it has grown into a certain amount of money. So
Bernice, if I have 1 million shillings that I earn per month, what is the deduction? What comes out of that at the end of the day?
Usually, it should be 15%. You're removing 5% from yours, and the company puts 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a total of 15%.
Yes.
And ideally, this is supposed to be for your pension when you retire. You access it when you're 55 years. Then there are some who can access it at 50 if you've been out of employment, I think, for over a year or so. Then you can access. So the point, or it's what Social Security is all about, is helping you later when you retire from any economic distress or anything that may happen later during your retirement. In fact, for me, the worry is after I retire and you give me my lump sum, boom, of 200 million, okay, how do I spread this money for the next 20 years of my life when I'm not actively working?
Okay.
So
So what you
obvious.
mean is that it's a possibility that this 15% that I'm accumulating can actually get to a sum of 200 million. Because I actually think people forget about NSSF.
Yeah.
They just know it's subtracted and, okay, you guys keep subtracting my money, you subtract my money, our money, and that's where it ends.
No, no. To be fair on them, I think they endeavor, because they're also mandated to help this money grow, to help you later during your pension. And I think you hear Richard talking about it time and again. Different places, they have tried to invest. Safe investments. I think they bought shares in Umeme. They try to they have an investment policy, an investment committee that sits and decides how to invest this money. The overall point being this money must grow for the members.
At what rate does it grow?
It depends. The rate now is, I'm not sure, maybe about 12 or 13. It's not fixed per annum,
Okay.
but they try their best to give you the best return that they can by investing in different investments.
Okay, Vanessa, I want you to talk about investment groups, because somebody asked me when someone last week mentioned it when they were speaking. I think it was Anne. She spoke about belonging to an investment group, and a lot of people have been asking me what that is. But before we do that, I'd like to hear from the audience. Some of them had questions for me. If you can get the microphone fast enough and ask your question. Yes, please. Let's make the questions very brief.
Yes, thank you, Josephine. My first question will go to Madame Dagire. Tonight we are looking at how I can grow my money. And according to me, I would invest my cash so that I can get the returns. Now, you said no profit as per yogurt, since you are goater. So you're selling yogurt for emergency, right? I want to ask you, how will you grow that money if you're just selling them for emergency? How will your money grow? I want to see how your money is growing. Then the second question.
Very briefly.
Yeah, it's going to Madam. This thing has been eating me up. I haven't yet been in an office to be chopped my money for NSSF.
Okay.
But why can't people borrow money from NSSF since when they go to banks, they are charged highly for those interests?
So do you mean you want to borrow money when you're not working and save? And
No. I mean those ones that have saved with NSSF. Why can't they borrow from NSSF, borrow their own money, since banks charge their interest?
Okay. Let's take the next question and then we can respond to them. Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Josephine.
Yes.
Yeah, my question goes to Vanice.
Yes.
I have an issue with the banks deducting money off our savings, yet I'm trying to save and it's also trying to deduct some small money. How will I grow my money, yet the banks are also deducting the small income?
Do you mean the banks or do you mean NSSF? The banks.
The banks.
Okay. All right. The next question.
Thank you very much, Josephine. My first question goes to Madame Lorraine. You said you have not realized any profits ever since you started growing and rearing goats. No, my question is, how long have you been in the business? The other question goes to Madame Banez. Well, you talked about capital gains. To me, this sounds like share trading is a business whereby you can just keep on purchasing and reselling without having any issues with the authorized with the regulatory authority. Is it possible? Do you just continue buying and selling?
Okay. Let's take the last question very, very briefly, and I hope our answers can be just as brief.
Thank you. Edna Karunji is my name. Just like Josephine was saying, I'm looking at this lady who works Monday to Saturday. The only time they have is a Sunday. and they really have this small money that they would like to invest, though they don't trust these people around them because they give someone your money and it will be gone. So we would like to know exactly those places that they can look into and get that information and make sure they can invest their money.
Thank you very much. Let's start with you very, very quickly. If you can just tell us about, or would you like us to start with Bernice?
Maybe start with her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
very briefly.
Well, I don't know if I can make this brief.
Just as brief as,
As brief as possible. It seems like I made goat farming to be a non-profitable sector, which is not true. It really is profitable, I'm telling you. So I started with 15 goats, and now I have 40 plus goats. From my calculation, for you to actually start making a profit is at the point when you have, say, 100 goats. Because at with 100 goats, you can, say, sell 10 goats per month. I haven't got to 100 yet. That's why I said I'm not making any profit at the moment. So right now, my goats seem like emergency. But with 100 goats, at that number, you can afford to sell 10 goats a month, each goat going for about 200,000. I know someone who sells at 300,000. So 200,000 for 10 goats. Do the math. So yeah, you stand to make money from that.
All right.
Yeah.
Bernice? Oh, how long have you been doing this?
Oh, not long. I think it's been a year now. Yeah,
Just
it's been
a
a
year.
year.
You have
Yes.
40 goats.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Bernice, let's take your thoughts.
I hope I got all the questions. I'll come back. I didn't get hers. You repeated for me.
Yes.
But just in brief, I think you asked why can't we borrow from NSSF? What we need to understand, the objective of NSSF is to help you save towards your retirement. In fact, it illustrates the power of saving. Yes, I know they remove it without giving us a choice, but just showing you when they deduct over the years how much you can save. So one would need to consider other sources of borrowing. Yes, it is your money, but the objective of NSSF, or the objective of the Act, why it was put in place, is to save, to help you save for your retirement later. You actually need a lot of money when you retire. You know, now we think about it, my money, why are they cutting it? But you'll be amazed at how you can live even longer than your working years. So you need it more, and that was its purpose.
All right, Bernice, I'm going to interrupt you for a bit. For our audience that's back at home, we're going to have to take a short break, but we'll be right back. Bernice will continue to answer your questions during this break. So, do you not have I'd like 2 volunteers from except you. 2 volunteers that would like to participate in our game. If you'd like to, please walk up to yes, to the podium.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you a question. If you can get 3 answers from this correct, you get to take the prize. So on our social media page, Perspective with Josephine Karunji, this week we asked you to mention the women that inspire you, the women that speak to you. And 4 names were mentioned more times than 4 names kept coming up. Please do not mention my name. If you can mention the 4 names that were mentioned, you get to win the prize. The prize is in this envelope. It's a brown envelope, but I can assure you, you know what brown envelope stands for. I'm not bribing you, but these were your prizes. So if you can answer, the first person to mention the 4 names accurately gets to win. If you mention at least 3, I'll think about giving you this prize. So ladies, in 30 seconds, who wants to start? All right, start. Yes? No. All right, next person? Okay. Uh-huh. Yes. Okay, what we have right now on the screen was the clue that you might have had, and I said if you can get at least 3 of the 4 correct, you get to win. So if we can have that clip actually coming to be, then we'll see if you actually get to win this money. Wow, okay. Oh, thank you very much, ladies, for playing. You can have your seats, and if you could just tell us your name so that we know who actually won this prize. Edna Karunji. You get to walk home. With
a
this
brown
prize,
envelope.
it contains 100,000 shillings. Thank you for playing. And that was our pick and play segment. Let's take a break now. We're coming back with our show and tell. People are beginning to call my name. You wanted the money? We're not going to cheat. So tonight I have a bit of a surprise. One gentleman had Women's Month, and he thought he'd come and give us a treat in our show and tell segment. And I'm going to invite him to come up and take the stage and take us through the treat that he has for us.
Oh. I thought he was going to propose to someone.
You thought he was going to?
You watch
too much.
But it's not a treat for everyone then, just for one person.
I know. Sure.
Ah.
My husband should learn the guitar.
Your husband should learn the guitar. You're live.
Ziraone mbale biseera Enga muri nebuuza gwe lw'olitonya mu ffeno olinzinyisa matutu gwe olw'essanyu eringi owange kano obulumi sibuulira singa nalina ebiwaawa nandibuse mu bbanga nekooleka ebitonde singa nalina ebiwaawa nzeera nandibuse mu bbanga nekooleka ebitonde kubanga nkwesunga bebi nkwesunga li mwana wa ndege nkwesunga bebi nkwesunga li mwana wa ngoma nkwesunga bebi nkwesunga zino ennyonyi enkeze zinsanga nazukuze danze sebo nseyegguka eggendo mu birowoozo byange nze nati ntegekera omulungi omugenyi mulindwa oba mutuuma erinnya kinze ono mwana wa ngoma ono mwana wa ndekekwe ono mwana wa ngoma nkwesunga baby nkwesunga you can sing with me nkwesunga baby nkwesunga to everyone who is expecting a baby nkwesunga baby nkwesunga nkwesunga baby nkwesunga oli mwana wa ngoma Thank you. The song is all about when a man is told we shall have a baby in 9 months. Those imaginations you have. We have those imaginations. How will the baby look? What name will I give the baby? Something like that. That's the logic of the song. Not the babies, you know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jovan. Jovan, where do you sing?
I take long to sing at home, like here in Uganda, but I do cozy music.
Oh, clearly, yes.
Yeah, that's. I sell Uganda all over the world. That's what I do. So my style of music is a fusion of our traditional music with the rest of the world's music. So it is called ethnomusic. I studied ethnomusicology.
I see.
Yeah.
And what does Nkwesunga mean?
Like anxiously waiting for this
Anxiously
to happen.
waiting. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh. I know it's a little bit, but we just...
Kwesunga is just anxiously waiting for this to happen.
For that baby.
This baby to come out. Or for you.
You see, so when you say, there's a part where you asked for a name and somebody shouted Salma.
I was imagining, what name will I give the baby? Obanku tumerinya chinze. Someone, you're free to put those names you want.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jovan, for this treat. We really, really appreciate you taking the time. Right, and that treat brings us to the end of our show for tonight. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, for watching, for sending in your comments. We had a lot of great feedback last week, and we really, really appreciate it. Continue to support the show. Continue to tell your friends to watch. I'm sure there's a lot that you can learn from this show. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining me again. And I know we want to learn more about money. So next week, we're going to keep the conversation still on money. We wanted to know about investment groups. There's quite a bit that I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask about insurance, the insurance companies that keep coming to our doorsteps, and all of that. And I'm sure all of us could benefit from this discussion. And to our lovely studio audience, thank you so much for taking time off your Sunday evening to come here. I know it's not an easy thing to do. Well, thank you very much for watching, and that's PWJK for this week. Good night.